Hi class, welcome to the exponential and logarithmic function unit. So this video is going to just provide you a brief description and overview of what you can look for throughout the unit and expect. So first, how does this unit apply to what we already know? So when you learn properties of exponents in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, we're going to be building upon these. So the first day of this unit, we're actually going to start by reviewing some of these properties, and we're really going to look at negative exponents and fractional exponents or rational exponents, which represent radicals, because those are going to be kind of the common misconception areas, I think, as we review those properties. So we're going to spend a lot of time on those, but you're going to be reviewing all of the properties of exponents and utilizing those properties to evaluate logarithms and also to graph exponential and logarithmic functions. Transformations of functions and those rules that we've been using throughout this semester are also going to be extremely important. If you recall, when we learned absolute value, quadratic, square root, cubic, and rational functions, all of those transformation rules were the exact same. What was different was the parent function that you started with. So that's going to apply as well to this exponential and logarithmic function unit, because the transformation rules are going to be the same, but the parent function for your exponential and logarithmic functions will be different. So our starting point will be different, but how we transform them, you're still going to be using those same rules. Another thing we're going to build upon is inverse functions. So you're going to have to recall, and we're going to review this as well and make connections to how can we determine if two functions are inverses of each other algebraically. How can we determine that numerically? So if we're given a set of ordered pairs, how can we tell if they are inverses of each other? Or if we're given one set of ordered pairs, how can we find its inverse with the set of ordered pairs? And graphically, what do inverse functions look like graphically? So these connections we're going to be making throughout this unit. Some technologies we're going to use in this unit are going to be Padlet. So Padlet you're going to use to answer kind of discussion questions and read some of your peers' responses. We'll use this a few times throughout the unit. Google Forms you're going to use to complete some thinking routines, so some self-assessment, but you're also going to use Google Forms to submit some of your multiple choice answer homework assignments, and this way you'll get immediate feedback once you enter in the answers and hit submit, your kind of how you did on your homework assignment. Google Classroom will also be utilized for you to submit your non-multiple choice homework answers. It'll really allow me to see your step-by-step work. And on the next slide, we're going to talk about how kind of homework is going to be graded via a homework rubric. So you're going to be submitting the night before via Google Classroom. In terms of videos, you're going to be watching a lot of videos throughout the unit for homework, and I've created videos through Edpuzzle, which is a tool that allows you or allows me to embed questions and formative assessment so I can get feedback right away. It also allows me to have you pause within the video, and you will actually be doing some examples in a corresponding worksheet after watching part of the video before you kind of continue on. I also will be using Screencast-O-Matic to make videos for you as well. And this will allow us to give more time in class to explore through some other tools. So those presentation tools you will not be using, I will be using to present material to you, direct instruction to you through videos. You'll be exploring through tools of GeoGebra and Desmos. Desmos I know you've used for graphing calculator purposes of just typing in an equation and getting its graph. Desmos we're going to use more so the teacher-based activities, classroom activities, so you're going to be exploring a lot of those, and that allows me to see kind of your progress as you work through those in class and analyze any errors you may be having and how I can help you proceed. That's very similar to MathIXL, which you're familiar with. We haven't used it a ton, but we will be using MathIXL as well. And then Kahoot, we'll use a quick game of Kahoot to kind of review some properties of exponents. So here's your homework rubric that I was alluding to. So Homework is always graded on effort, and it's not necessarily graded on whether you get every single answer correct. I need to see that you're trying. I need to see your thought process. So this rubric will help me grade your homework. And so part of it is neatness. Can I actually follow your work? Is it neatly written? Is it organized? Are you circling your final answer? Neatness also pertains to whether, I mean, you don't need to necessarily be using pencil, although it's strongly encouraged in math, but if you're using pen, sometimes a lot of you cross out things and scribble things out because it's incorrect, and that just makes your work really messy. So ensuring that your work is neat will get you full credit. Completion, you need to attempt and try every single problem. Even if you can't get to the solution, I need to see your thought process and where you're going so that I can help you move forward. So in terms of understanding, whether you demonstrate an understanding of the main concepts when completing the problems. And again, this isn't necessarily implying that you get every answer correct. What it's implying is that you're showing me your thought process, and where you get stuck, you're writing in questions of where you got stuck. That's demonstrating your understanding of what you do not understand and what concepts you still need to work on. So being able to indicate that on your homework is also important. And then showing your work, showing all your steps sequentially and meticulously is also important. So you'll be submitting your homework work by taking a picture and uploading it into the assignment tab on Google Classroom, and then I will be able to analyze it using the rubric. The homework that you will be submitting will also allow me to help kind of organize groups, and you'll be doing a lot of group work and some station rotation activities throughout this unit. So being able to see your homework the night before or the morning of our class, I will be able to kind of break you guys up into groups accordingly. Some of the essential questions we'll be looking at are, what connections can we make between exponents and logarithms? So again, looking at properties of exponents. How do the laws of exponents tie into properties of logarithms? How are logarithms related to exponentials? How are their graphs related? How can exponential growth and decay model real-world situations? All right, so these are the questions we're going to be examining throughout the unit, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of answer in one form or another at the end of the unit. The unit overview. So the first day we're going to look at exponential functions and their graphs. The second day we're going to continue a little bit more with exponential graphs for the first portion of the class, because your homework for day one will be watching a video that really expands upon graphing exponential functions. And then the second portion of the day two class will be starting to introduce logarithms and some of those properties. On day three, we're going to expand upon the properties of logarithms, and we're going to start looking into graphs of logarithmic functions. On day four, you're going to be learning to solve exponential equations. On day five, we're going to solve exponential and logarithmic equations. So the first portion will be kind of reviewing exponential equations, and then we'll pull in solving logarithmic equations. On day six, we're going to do a station rotation activity where kind of each station represents the previous sections. So you'll have one station per concept, and you'll be in small groups, which you'll be organized in groups based on the self-assessment form you fill out the night before. And you'll rotate through groups to help you review these main concepts for your assessment on day 7. So on day 7 you have a quest. So it's not a quiz, it's not a test, it's in the middle. It's weighted more than a quiz, less than a test. And that's because the remaining kind of portion of points that will get you to that test grade are in the remaining days of when we do some application exploration. So the day 7 quest assessment will be kind of, can you show me your understanding of the concepts in the previous days? We'll have one full day of review, and then we will be applying that knowledge in some applications.